Weirdest machines used by ancient humans. 8. The Antikythera Mechanism. Ancient Greece, 100 BC. In 1901, divers pulled a rock out of a shipwreck off the Greek island of Antikythera. The rock turned out to not be a rock. Inside was a device containing 37 interlocking bronze gears of varying sizes, all precisely calibrated, all working together as a single system. When scientists finally understood what it did, they genuinely could not believe it. The device could predict the positions of the sun and moon, calculate solar and lunar eclipses, track the cycles of the Olympic Games, and map the movement of 5 planets simultaneously. It was a fully functioning analog computer, built in 100 BC. The level of engineering required to produce it should not have existed for another 1,500 years. Nothing remotely comparable appears in the archaeological record, anywhere in the world, for over a millennium after it was built. Where it came from, who built it, and whether other devices like it ever existed, remains one of the most genuinely unsolved questions in the history of human technology. We found one. Just one. And it already broke everything we thought we knew about ancient engineering. 7. Roman concrete mixer. Ancient Rome. 200 BC. Modern concrete dissolves in seawater. Roman concrete gets stronger. Romans built harbors, breakwaters, and seawalls using a concrete mixture that has now survived over 2,000 years of continuous ocean exposure and is measurably stronger today than when it was first poured. Modern engineers noticed this and spent years trying to figure out why. The answer was volcanic ash. Romans mixed seawater with volcanic ash from a specific region, and the combination created a chemical reaction that produced minerals inside the concrete that actually reinforced the structure over time instead of breaking it down. The longer it sat in seawater, the stronger it became. The machine Romans used to mix and apply this at scale across entire harbor constructions was an engineering system involving pulleys, cranes, and mixing drums that could produce and pour concrete continuously across large structures. Modern engineers have spent decades trying to reverse engineer the formula. The full process is still not completely understood. We are currently less capable of building what they built than they were 2,000 years ago. 6. The Archimedes Claw. Ancient Greece. 214 BC. Archimedes was asked to defend the city of Syracuse against a Roman naval invasion. He responded by building a machine that picked up Roman ships and flipped them over. The Archimedes Claw was a crane system mounted on the city walls above the harbor. It extended a large hook over the water on a long arm attached to a counterweight and pulley system. When a Roman ship came close enough, the hook would grab the front of the ship. The counterweight would then lift the front of the ship entirely out of the water, tipping it vertically, and then release it so it would crash back down and sink. Roman soldiers arriving by sea had no counter for it. Historical accounts describe Roman commanders becoming so psychologically terrified of the claw that soldiers would panic and abandon ships if anything appeared over the city walls, even ropes or pieces of wood, assuming the claw was coming. Archimedes held off the entire Roman navy with a giant hook on a stick for 2 years. Rome eventually took Syracuse by land. They never figured out how to defeat the claw from the water. 5. The Baghdad Battery. Parthian Empire. 250 BC. In 1938, a German archaeologist named Wilhelm Koenig found a clay jar in Iraq containing a copper cylinder surrounding an iron rod. When he examined it, he realized it was structurally identical to a modern electrical battery. Fill it with an acidic liquid, like vinegar or lemon juice, and it produces electricity. The jar dated to roughly 250 BC. Parthian Empire. Over 2,000 years before Alessandro Volta invented the battery in 1800. Testing has confirmed the design works. A replica filled with grape juice produces approximately 1.1 volts of electricity. Several replicas connected together can produce enough current to electroplate metal, which means coating one metal object with a thin layer of another metal using electrical current. Objects found in the same region from the same period show evidence of electroplating. Gold-plated objects that appear to have a layer too thin and too even to have been applied by hand. Nobody has definitively proven what the Baghdad battery was actually used for. Nobody has definitively proven it wasn't an ancient electrical device. It sits in a museum in Iraq, and the question of whether humans discovered electricity 2,000 years before we thought they did remains officially unanswered. 4. The Roman dodecahedron. Ancient Rome, 200 AD. Nobody knows what this is. That is the official position of every archaeologist and historian who has ever studied it. The Roman dodecahedron is a small, hollow bronze object with 12 flat pentagonal faces, each face containing a circular hole of a different size, with small spheres at each corner. Over 100 of them have been found across the former Roman Empire. Not one single Roman text mentions them. No drawings of them exist, no instructions, no explanation of any kind was ever written down. Theories include astronomical instruments, surveying tools, candle holders, dice, military rangefinders, and religious objects. None of the theories have been proven. None have been disproven. Replicas have been built and tested for every proposed function, and none of them work perfectly enough to confirm the original purpose. Rome documented almost everything: military manuals, tax records, architectural plans, recipes, personal letters. They wrote down an extraordinary amount of information about their civilization, and they never once mentioned an object that appears in over 100 locations across their entire empire. Whatever it was for, every Roman apparently already knew, and nobody thought to write it down. The secret died with them completely. 3. Heron's vending machine. Ancient Egypt, 50 AD. Heron of Alexandria was an ancient Greek mathematician and engineer living in Egypt in approximately 50 AD. He invented the steam engine. He also invented the first vending machine in history, and they are somehow the same story. The vending machine was installed in Egyptian temples. You inserted a coin into a slot at the top. The coin fell onto a small pan attached to a lever. The weight of the coin tilted the lever, which opened a valve, which released a precisely measured amount of holy water. When the coin slid off the pan, the lever returned to its original position and closed the valve. It was fully automatic, mechanically precise, and completely self-contained. A coin-operated machine dispensing a measured quantity of liquid in 50 AD. Heron also designed automated theater performances, powered by a falling weight system, programmable carts that followed preset paths using rope and pegs, and a basic steam-powered rotating sphere. He built technology in 50 AD that the rest of the world would not rediscover for over 1,500 years, and then apparently everyone forgot he existed and had to figure it all out again from scratch. 2. The Chinese South-Pointing Chariot. Ancient China, 200 AD. The south-pointing chariot was a two-wheeled vehicle with a figure mounted on top. The figure always pointed south, always, regardless of which direction the chariot turned. Regardless of how many times it changed direction, the figure on top never stopped pointing south. It contained no magnets. It had nothing to do with magnetism or the Earth's poles. It worked entirely through a differential gear system of extraordinary complexity that automatically compensated for every turn the vehicle made and kept the figure in a fixed orientation relative to its starting position. It was a mechanical dead reckoning navigation device built in 200 AD using gear ratios and differential mechanics that Europe would not independently develop until the 1700s. Chinese armies used it to navigate through terrain with no landmarks, no stars visible, and no reference points of any kind. The mathematics required to design a gear system capable of this level of continuous automatic compensation is genuinely impressive by modern standards. Someone in 200 AD China sat down and worked out the differential gear before the concept formally existed anywhere in recorded engineering history. 1. The Istanbul Pipe System. Ancient Rome, 500 AD. Beneath the city of Istanbul, there is a cistern built by the Byzantine Emperor Justinian in 532 AD that held 80,000 cubic meters of water and was supported by 336 marble columns, arranged in perfectly straight rows, covering an area the size of 2 football fields underground. The water delivery system that filled it ran for over 250 kilometers from outside the city. It maintained a perfectly consistent downward gradient the entire distance, using only gravity and precision engineering. No pumps, no mechanical assistance. Just an aqueduct system, calibrated so precisely over 250 kilometers that water flowed continuously from the source to the underground cistern entirely through gravitational force. The surveyors who planned the route did this without modern measurement tools, without GPS, without any technology beyond physical instruments and mathematical calculation. The gradient varies by less than 1 meter across the entire 250-kilometer length. If they were off by slightly more, at any point the water would have stopped flowing. They were not off. It worked for centuries. Parts of it still exist today,